Two birds suddenly appear every time you are near. Just like me, they long to be close to you.
Laws must evolve with the human minds. As we grow wiser, so must of our institutions. But what happens when the law itself stands in the way of justice? In this case, a young girl's cry for justice clashes with the rigid walls of legal immunity and financial protection. Thus, the court was left to ask, will the law yield to justice? Or must justice yield to the law? Karen was just the typical young girl enjoying a quiet afternoon with a friend at the Plaza Fair Makati Cinema Square during their free time. But everything changed when a man with a malicious intent introduced himself. He called himself Greg Bartelli, said he was a teacher, spoke of a niece her age, and offered her a stuffed toy in exchange for a simple favor, to help his niece with schoolwork. Inside that apartment, her world shattered. The door locked behind her, the lies unraveled. There was no niece, only a monster who will take her innocence again and again. For days, that room was hell for the victim. On February 7, 1989, her cries reached the streets. The neighbors called for the police and was rescued. When the door finally opened, she emerged not just as a victim, but as a survivor. But her ordeal was far from over. What is the value of a girl's experience of injustice in the eyes of the law? When the courts awarded damages, the banks refused to release the funds, invoking immunity. On the 16th of February 1989, the state filed 5 criminal charges against Greg Bartelli, 4 counts of rape, and 1 of serious illegal detention. But before justice could take its course, Bartelli escaped from jail on the very day of his scheduled bail hearing. Just 4 days later, the court issued a warrant of arrest and a whole departure order, measures too late to prevent his flight. With the accused evading capture, the court had no choice. The criminal cases were archived, awaiting the day he would finally be found.
In the light of the petitioner's sworn allegations and the respondent's flight from lawful custody, this court hereby grants the issuance of a writ of preliminary attachment against the properties of Greg Bartelli E. Norfolk. Let the writ issue upon the posting of bonds in the amount of 100,000 pesos. So ordered.
On March 13, 1989, China Banking Corporation refused to honor the writ. invoking the bank secrecy law and central bank circular number 960, claiming the dollar account of the accused was untouchable. By the order of the court, the deputy sheriff personally served the writ and was received by the manager of the China Banking Corporation.
I'm afraid we cannot comply with this notice of garnishment because under Republic Act number 1405 and section 113 of the Central Bank Circular number 960, the dollar account is protected. It is exempt from garnishment.
But here's the thing. The Supreme Court didn't just let that pass. The Supreme Court said that law may have been meant to protect the economy and encourage investors, but it was never meant to protect criminals.
The court further held that no economic policy or regulation can be allowed to frustrate the ends of justice. It emphasized that laws must be applied in a manner consistent with fairness and morality, especially when the innocent are left without remedy.
Relying on Article 10 of the Civil Code, the court affirmed that laws should always be interpreted in a way that ensures justice and righteousness prevail. In ruling in favor of Salvacion, the court sends a clear message. The Constitution stands above all, and legal processes must serve to protect victims, not enable the guilty to escape liability under the guise of financial immunity.
In view whereof, the provisions of Section 113 of Central Bank Circular number 960 and Presidential Decree number 1246 are hereby held to be inapplicable to this case. The respondents are required to comply with the writ of execution and to release to petitioners the dollar deposit of Greg Bartelli in Northcote.
So ordered.